Hi guys, here I am talking to Andrew Bird. Welcome back to Brighton.
Thanks.
Okay, so I read online that you're 50 and you've beaten the Brighton parking charges.
I have nailed Brighton. I've nailed Brighton. I once came here, I used to park near Lewis Road, up that way, and one of the other comedians, I was doing the gig, and I said, well, I've got to go move my car. So I parked it outside, I was running late, got to go move up the road for the weekend. And he was like this big cockney bloke, goes, what are you moving your car for? I was like, well, you know, it's got to pay, ain't you, for the weekend? He goes, only 30 quid. I was like, well, that's an Audi shop, isn't it? So moved it up the road, and then he rings me the next morning. He goes, parked the car opposite the hotel, and it carries on after like 10 o'clock for the next day. It's charged me £35 for parking. There's no discount anymore. I was like, yeah, that's why I don't park there. And he was like, he goes, where are you parked? I said, near Lewis Road. He goes, where is it? I said, it did. And he goes, well, I ain't got my sat nav. I said, wait there. So I went with him. Just drove with him, parked his car for free, and then walked back. I reckon local councils are following my social media to figure out where they need to put residents parking only. So I've got Brighton pretty much nailed. On a weekend I park further out. I'm not going to say the street, but a bit further out now. It's a half hour.
Tell anyone.
It's a half-hour walk, but it is blooming well worth it.
So have you got all that information on your website then? Are you not actually hiding the parking spaces?
No, I should stop mentioning roads because I reckon they're following me about. The councils are on me.
Well, moving on from parking.
Yeah.
So you've supported, we spoke about it earlier, so Rob Brydon,
Yeah.
Rod Gilbert, Michael McIntyre.
Yeah.
Sorry, one of my favourites, I have to admit. That's pretty amazing.
He's pretty good at stand-up, yeah.
How did that all start? How did you get into that?
Well, it's kind of, stand-up, a little bit of it is just who you know and not being annoying and not getting on with people really helps. Rod Gilbert was, his main support act was Lloyd Langford, who's a brilliant comedian, and he could do a couple. So Rod just, you know, he's quite unorganised. Oh, can I get to support me tomorrow? So he's asked Lloyd, and Lloyd's just text me, and that's how I got that. You know, people think it might be you got to have an amazing agent or something like that. I haven't even got an agent. I get most of my stuff through text.
It's kind of just be nice.
Yeah, just not be annoying and try and do your best. That really helps. Rob Brydon was through Live Nation. I know someone at Live Nation who saw me do a gig and done a few of them, and then really got on well with Rob Brydon. He's a funny, nice man, and then did loads for him. And then McIntyre was by accident in many ways. Again, text. I knew Michael before he was like really famous and that. Gig together, did Dubai with him, these gigs in Dubai. So I gigged with him for 12 days. So kind of knew him a little bit, but not seen him in years. But then I did the TV warm-up for his show, you know, the big show?
Yeah.
So I do the TV warm-up for that, and that's in a 2,000-seat theatre. And the bit where they do the corridor that comes on stage for the unexpected star of the show, someone walks out onto the stage through a corridor. They have to build that on the stage. So while they're building that, you know, telly, they just cut it, edit, and all that. What happens is, TV warm-up, me, has to go on and flail about for 25 minutes while people are drilling behind you. So McIntyre said, well, if you can be funny while people are drilling behind you, you should be all right.
Oh my gosh.
So he texts me. Just so I get a text from him just saying, Birdie, what are you doing tomorrow? One of his standard texts. And you're like, well, probably what you're about to ask, I imagine. And luckily for me, he'd done a couple of gigs in Southend, warming up for his tour, and they're not being that enjoyable. So he said, I probably shouldn't say this, but he goes, the first 20 minutes has been a bit hard work. I don't expect to have to win over my own audience. And he said to me, first 20 minutes is hard work. I thought, you could do that. So I just did a couple of supports, thinking that'll be it, and then he'll do his arena tour, and he'll go and do that on his own, but then he asked me to do the arena. So it was weird. It kind of happened, like, gradually. I went from, in the space of 3 days, I went from doing a gig to 38 people in Admiral Rodney, in just outside Nottingham, to literally, like, 2 days later, Nottingham Arena, 11,000. That was a weird week.
So you performed for Banksy as well.
Oh, yeah.
Firstly, who is he?
That again, when you get gigs and you think, well, I get to meet them. That was one of them. Like, you know, like as if Banksy's going to be there in the green room going,
Yeah.
hello, does anyone need a drink or anything? So we'll start at 9. Does anyone need to get away? You're Dublin. He wasn't like a promoter, you know.
I love that he's got an introverted voice.
Yeah, I don't know why I gave him that voice. That's how I hope he would sound.
Yeah.
But no, it was in Western Supermare. It was his Dismaland. Did you hear about that?
I've heard that, yeah.
He did that. It was amazing. He did this one-off, really grim theme park, and it had stand-up. And he knows a comedian I know, who's only dealt with him through email, but he wanted stand-up. And I speak to Adam Bloom, brilliant comedian. You should look him up. He booked it. And I saw him recently, and he said, we were chatting about it. He goes, yeah, you're one of only, like, I think it was 8 comedians that's performed for Banksy. He said, you should put that on your website. I went, oh, yeah, I didn't think of that. I just thought it was a weird gig. But yeah, you did walk around all day going, is that him? That's him. That's definitely him. That bloke works serving the hot dogs. That's him. That's definitely him. Where else would he be? I was hoping I'd find him at some point, but no. Well, so when you say I performed for Banksy, I did a gig. He organised it. He wasn't sat in the front heckling. Imagine being heckled by Banksy. That would be great.
He could have been there though.
Yeah, he must have been there somewhere.
He's got to have been.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have a theme park event and then not go there, would you?
No, get it for free. Well, no, that's the thing. Normally, when you get in, that's bad enough when you're a stand-up and you arrive at a theatre and you've got to prove that you're one of the acts. That's awkward enough. Imagine trying to say you own the theme park without giving away who you are. Tricky one. I don't know how he got in.
Well, I guess
he
he can afford to get in though.
Yeah, he probably paid.
Yeah. Probably just paid. It just goes back to him, doesn't it?
Yeah. Good point. Yeah, your way would work better. Yeah.
He's like, oh damn it, losing money attending all my events.
He'd get concessions, I imagine.
We're going to go through all your skills now because now I want to know about how it is to write for TV shows. It says, well, we've seen that we've done Mock of the Week and 8 out of 10 Cats.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's really good.
Yeah. Well, they're two of the most completely different ones you can write for. Really, they're quite good examples because, like, people slag off comedians who have writers, but it's quite a bit of a grey area. It's not how it works. Like if you have a comedian who's on telly about 9 times a week, like Ramesh Ranganathan for an example, he can't physically or mentally write the amount of stuff needed to be on all those shows. And there's 2 different sorts of like writing on telly. There's some a bit like Mock the Week and some other ones where you just get emailed a list of stuff that might be talked about, might not be. Some of the big stories that they have to talk about, and you write a list of jokes on that, email it in. Maybe they'll use it, possibly they won't. That's that way. The other way was 8 out of 10 Cats was writing with John Richardson. So when people say, oh, do you write for John Richardson? I'd always go, no, I write with him. That's more like you sit in a room, me, him, and another writer called Will, and like there'll be the news stories, or if it's Cats Countdown, what they're going to talk about, or what they're going to muck about, and stuff. And then we sit there and chat about it and just make each other laugh and go, oh, you could do that, or you could do that. And it's like, it's the difference between, someone writing a song for someone and people sat in a room jamming. It's a bit like that. It's, quite often you do writing with John, and it'll be a topic or something, and you'll spend about 20 minutes reading about it, just trying to figure out what it's about, and you'll look up and he's written a page of jokes.
Yeah.
And you think, well, he doesn't really need me here for this. So those are the 2. But it's a really nice feeling when you watch 8 out of 10 Cats and if you see a line that you said that is used, it's a really good feeling.
It must be really nice creatively. That's like a good headspace.
Yeah, it can be like really, when you look at the sheet of paper, what we're talking about, and it's X Factor, Strictly, and you just go, oh god.
Because I saw, I was watching some of your stuff, and I saw like you can like repeat something and keep it still funny, and I think like it's good to be able, like, I noticed like you've kind of like changed things and like kind of ad-libbed, and if maybe a joke came out a little bit different, like it was 2 performances I watched, and I noticed like one joke was a slight bit different, but you pulled it back in, like changed it. It was something to do with sorry, I can't remember now under pressure. But
It's
it was
alright.
just really clever how you almost had two endings to it. I just thought it was really interesting.
Did I? I've
Yeah.
impressed myself. I don't know what bit that is.
Gosh, I wish I
It can
could.
be quite good sometimes.
I wish I could remember it.
That sounds like I was good.
Well, this is just my opinion, but when you did when you said about like old people watching my YouTube and stuff, when I looked at it this morning, I didn't stop. I could listen to the same thing and not be bored, and I enjoyed it, and I still laughed the second time.
Thanks
so.
very much.
You're doing all right. Just a Slovakian wife. Can you speak Slovakian? Or could you tell us a joke in Slovakian?
I don't think Slovakians can tell a joke in Slovakian. Oh, that is offensive.
Well,
I thought it's a contentious issue with my wife to this day. To be fair, she's partly to blame that I can't speak Slovakian. I'm laying some of it at her door. For a while I was trying to do an hour a day learning Slovakian, CD-ROM, old school, trying to learn Slovakian. And one day I was trying to learn, I think it's 2:45 in Slovakian if you're telling the time. So English 2:45. Slovakian is 3:43. And you've got
Right.
the tongue in the mouth and all that. I said to my wife, that's ridiculous. That amount of syllables and tongue and all of that for 2:45. And she went, yeah, it's a really hard language. I'm surprised you're learning it. And after that, I mentally gave up. I thought, well, that's it, I am.
she gave you away out there.
Yeah, she did. But the other side of that is I'll say to my wife, what did they say? And she'll tell me, and I'll go, say this is good, I like this. And then she'll go, no, they won't get that. That won't translate, they won't find that funny. And my wedding, that was quite bad. I got married in Slovakia, right? And it was all Slovakian traditions, which was great. Slovakian weddings are 1,000 times better than English weddings. Slovakian weddings go on for 2 days. They have another reception the next day, and they go on till 6, 7 in the morning. And I thought that meant a couple of drunk stragglers. No, everyone is there. Grandparents are there 6 in the morning. It goes on for ages. It's brilliant. Everyone dances. My wife was appalled. The first English wedding, she was ringing her brother, going, no, it's 11 o'clock. No one's dancing. It's last orders in a minute. It's rubbish. And she's right. English weddings are terrible compared to Slovakian. But the one thing I insisted on to make it a bit like an English wedding is you got to have speeches. That's part of a wedding. They don't have speeches in Slovakia. They don't have stand-up in Slovakia at that time. They didn't know what stand-up was, so they didn't know what I do. So I did a speech, and my brother-in-law translated it, right? He's got a slight stammer, doesn't like speaking in public, and he forgot the notes that I gave him. So I was doing my bit in English, getting laughs from the English side. He would translate it into Slovakian, getting nothing. So I died on my arse at my own wedding.
Was your wedding your toughest audience?
It was one of my worst gigs, my own wedding.
Gosh.
Died on my arse at my own wedding in front of all my family.
Well, on that note, what's next? What are your plans? Where are you going?
Well, what's the time now?
Well, I mean, maybe not tonight, but in the future.
Well,
I mean, you could talk about what you do.
My immediate plan now is to walk up the road. I'm doing my tour show.
Oh yeah, good point. Sorry, yeah.
Brighton. I'm doing my tour show at Brighton Comedia. Brilliant venue. If you live in Brighton, for the love of God, go to that comedy club, the Comedia Creator Comedy Club. It's great. One of the best in the country. I just want to inform people of Brighton of that.
Yeah.
They might think, oh, it's probably a gig this good everywhere. There ain't. There really isn't. I've just described one that isn't. It's one of the best clubs in the country. It's great. So I'm doing my tour show in that studio room downstairs, lovely little room, and then I've got the rest of this month. I've got Sheffield, Leeds, doing London, Leicester Square Theatre. I'm doing my first solo theatre show in a proper nice theatre. That's at the end of the month, and then next month I'm doing my tour show, the last show, at Northampton Derngate in the room where I first ever watched stand-up at the age of 17.
Wow.
I'm doing my tour show in that room, and I'm recording it, and I'm going to put that on YouTube and give it away and stuff.
Is that where you're originally from then?
Yeah.
Oh, that
So,
would be so
yeah.
nice.
And it's on Easter Saturday.
Oh.
So it's weirdly all come together. I don't know how, so I'm doing that.
No, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, you get out what you put in.
Yeah.
You've obviously put it in.
I have. I'm
Brilliant.
going to get it out.
Yeah, you're going to get it out. Yeah. Wow, I think we can wrap up. I mean, I still have a million questions for you, but thank you so much.
Welcome.
It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank
It's
you
been
very
brilliant.
much.
I've really enjoyed it.